GM Crypto News Analyst here. It is Pi Day, and before I get into the video, please read the description below on the take of the show and the tokens. So let's get started with the price action of the majors. So Bitcoin here, it is up on the day. So still going with the thesis that we're going to go a bit more short-term higher, and I still think into the weekend we will still continue to go higher in a slow grind chop upwards. And where it's going to find a resistance potentially, maybe around 87 most likely if we keep going higher, which is pretty likely. And a lot of New York open sales in the last few days have been pretty weak. So, yeah, most likely this is a pretty bullish structure, and we're going to see a bit more short-term upside. And for it to keep going higher and touch 90, 91 is still in the playbook, but perhaps how it's going to get there, it's going to maybe do something like that. So it's not going to be an up-only rally, but if we do get 91, 92 in the weekend, then that's a good time to take profits, by the way. But yeah, I still think 90, just based off this EMA, is pretty big resistance, especially assuming that we believe this is to be a chop. And a lot of things are green on the day. Ethereum a little bit up on the day. Solana up a lot on the day. So yeah, pretty interesting to see. If Bitcoin keeps going higher and does the 90 to 92K thesis, Solana can easily do something like that. So yeah, Ethereum on the other hand, well, we'll have to see. Currently, it's still a little bit weaker, but 2400 is still into play, I think, pretty soon. And that's probably a good time if you wanted the short. Well, that'll be opportunity, but we'll have to see what happens and just adapt as we go. So liquidation heat map wise, there are more liquidity sucked around here on the bottom actually, but the price action of Bitcoin is just super bullish, and I still think that there are some people trying to short this, especially. So there were some liquidations here, and they finally got liquidated outwards. But most people, they might be trying to short it still, and that's just going to cause squeezes higher because people see this market structure and they think it's so bearish. Well, yeah, we are just going to see a bit of a short squeeze, most likely. And then if we look at the price action of the alts, so base meme coins are the hardest bouncers. So KeyCat is bouncing pretty nicely. Dog and Me is bouncing extremely nicely because it's getting a listing from Coinbase, and some of the other betas like Flopbob are bouncing a little bit. If we look at Solana meme coins, nothing really that insane. They're bouncing just because Solana is going up. And then if we were to look at base AI, well, there's nothing really that interesting to say, honestly. The only interesting field here is base meme coins, and we'll just keep going higher. If Bitcoin keeps going higher, then yeah, these will keep going higher, and maybe you could take profits on them. I mean, the thing about KeyCat here is that people are trying to front run a future listing because Dogamy is getting listing and they've had a similar market cap and cat and dog narrative, right? Well, we'll have to see what happens with Dogamy and how far it goes, but we'll have to see what happens, whether Dogamy gets listed first or it's going to be Clinker, because Clinker has been getting hinted at getting listed. Like, it was supposed to be listed, right? But it's been 22 days since that announcement, and it's been more probability that this could get listed first before Dogamy. So we'll just have to see what happens by Coinbase. It looks like they're favoring more insiders. So if I wanted to guess what will be the next insider play that they list, it would be either KeyCat or Miggles, most likely, which is why people are aping these. I don't know why Miggles isn't going as much as up, because this one's more Coinbase Insider, but we'll have to see what happens. So let's look at this. As is added to the roadmap today, Dogamy. Yeah, this news here was responsible for the Dogamy candle earlier today, and we'll have to see what happens. Most likely that Dogamy found a local resistance around here, 78 or so, and if we don't get a listing by then and it's just influenced by price action of Bitcoin, then Dogamy could peak out around there. And if it does get a listing, then of course it's going to go way a lot higher. I mean, I don't know why I'm saying if, because it will. We'll have to see, but I'm not really expecting them to super go even more up unless Coinbase launches a listing, and we'll have to see. I mean, of course this trend is very bullish, but we need Coinbase to list them first for the bullish momentum to keep going. So just adapt with it as it goes, right? So let's look at this. Intel, the White House states that the U.S. government wants to buy as much Bitcoin as possible. Yeah, so people got tripped up with the BCR, and people are thinking that the U.S. government is not going to buy Bitcoin anymore. Well, no, there are actually planning to buy it, and this news definitely helped influence the price of Bitcoin to bounce higher. And I think, as I said, something like this, the news and how it bounced in correlation, this is a very good thing to see. Justin, over 1.2 trillion was added to the U.S. stock market today. Yeah, so stock market sentiment has been so bad, and stock market here, it is finally bouncing a little bit after it's been down only. And if it does close higher here compared to other candles, then we could see the stock market go a little bit higher in the coming days as well, which would be pretty good for crypto just due to correlation. But we'll have to see what happens. I'm still a little bit midterm bearish on stocks. I'm not trying to pretend like I'm a stock expert, but the chart says everything you need to know, where it broke this major EMA support, which usually we will see it retest the EMA, the previous level. So these lines aren't exact, by the way. Maybe if I were to guess, around here, something like that. And then is it going to cascade downwards? We'll have to see what happens, but it's not going to zero. It's just that it's just been overbought for the longest time, and then now it is correcting as a response to a lot of Trump policies as well, but also because this is just a healthy correction. So let's look at this. The state of AI agent trenches. So I'm not going to read this whole thing. I read it earlier. I'm just going to give you guys a summary. But there was this one section at the bottom here where he gave a summary about the main 4 AI infras. Virtuals has a massive agent database of varieties of expertise in ACP development as tailwinds, but faces builder discontentment. Eliza OS has yet to launch its major initiatives, but development metrics show sustained growth despite weak price action. ARC has a clear vision for MCP-driven use cases and strategically partners in projects to actualize them. Click remains an underdog, focusing on tokenization and optimal launch environments for creators and traders. And so these are the 4 main ones, where it's virtuals and ASXZ and ARC. So you see ASXZ here. Price action, I mean, it's been down only for the longest time, but you want to see these AR infra projects still building, and they're most likely going to catch bids again once the market turns on. There's more short-term attention on Clanker, of course, because of listing, but we'll have to see and just adapt as we go for in terms of long-term investments. You want to invest in crypto AI. But yeah, that's pretty much all I want to say in this video. Okay, that's really dark, but yeah, basically in summary, we are most likely going to see short-term higher in the next few days, and we aren't going to see local top just yet. I think I see the timeline gain a little bit euphoric already, and once we see that we are so freaking back, baby zone, that will probably be time when the market's going to go even lower again. But for now, short-term bullish, and then midterm a little bit bearish. Most likely we have to retest the lows again at some point, but we're mostly going to go up first before that happens. And what seems to be the most interesting sector right now are base memes, but obviously there's also really good AI infra projects that are extreme discounts. Like, for example, I'm going to shout out Ray, for example. This project is absolutely insane, and it's starting to bottom here. And once the market turns on again after this brief chop, we could easily see Ray go back to all-time highs somehow, which would be a nice 10x for the people who are patient. So it is very good times to pick up on good AI infra projects, in my own opinion. And in base memes, you can ride the momentum on those. Of course, it's a little riskier because it depends on Coinbase's sentiment on how they're going to list the memes or not. But yeah, we'll just have to go with the flow. But that's pretty much all I want to say in this video, and I'll see you guys.